This billion-dollar company just went bankrupt. YouTubers claim to have lost everything. Mark Cuban was involved. He lost, well, he didn't lose everything because he's a billionaire, but he lost a lot of money. And so did his fans, the Mavericks, who he sold this all to. I'm talking about Voyager, why it matters, and why what they're doing right now might be illegal. So buckle up. This is going to be a long voyage. With over 2.7 million verified users, Voyager was an extremely popular crypto broker to buy and sell crypto. But even more than that, you could also earn money on crypto you left with Voyager, up to 9 to 10%. Now, I can already hear some of you saying, that sounds impossible. It sounds like a Ponzi scheme. But like all Ponzi schemes, this one was different, okay? Voyager had a plan that couldn't possibly fail. They told users they were able to generate this amazing yield because they took your money and lent it out. But not just to anyone. Voyager would only lend to the most trustworthy people. That's their secret sauce, according to their CEO.
So you're minimizing the risk because of who we're working with.
And they advertised this a lot. They claimed a low-risk approach to investing. They said that they could weather any bear market, which is, by the way, a gigantic red flag that you should never ignore. But that didn't stop popular crypto influencers from hearing about it, who began to either promote it or put their own money into this platform. People like Scott Melker, Andre Jick, Jeremy from Financial Education, people you probably have either never heard of or heard from way too much, such is the life of an internet celebrity. But whether you've heard about those guys or not, the biggest name that I know you will have heard of is Mark Cuban, who promoted this thing as well and actually turned out to be the worst of them all. Just listen to him pitch Voyager as being as close to risk-free as you can get in crypto.
I'm not trying here to tell you it's 100% risk-free, but it's as close to risk-free as you're going to get in the crypto universe.
Cuban said this as part of a partnership with Voyager, where he sold the Mavericks, basically the entire city of Dallas, on what was soon to be an insolvent company. But don't forget to use the code MAV.
Fans who download the app, create an account using the promotional code MAVS100, deposit $100 and make a trade, will get $100 in crypto.
And it's just all so pathetic, isn't it? To watch billionaires sell to us like this, the poors. I mean, let's be perfectly clear. Mark Cuban is a terrible crypto investor. He's 0 for 2. We've already covered his last failed venture. Anyways, the point I'm making, though, is that influencers and celebrities were a huge part of Voyager's success. And that makes sense, right? Because financial disclosures from Voyager show they were spending big on marketing, up to $80 million a year. But all this hype quickly changed when the news broke this past month.
Voyager Digital announcing today it's the latest crypto firm to suspend withdrawals, deposits, and trading.
As you're seeing there, basically lost everything in the stock.
But I have a substantial amount of money, like multiple six figures, that is locked up to this day with Voyager that I may never get access to again.
Most of my Ethereum is now temporarily, we'll say. I don't know if Voyager will make it right. Gone. My Solana's gone. Some of my Bitcoin is gone. And a lot of the things that I got paid with in USDC, gone, right?
Man, don't you feel bad for these millionaires who put their money into this risk-free investment? Well, don't feel too bad, because according to some of them, they aren't actually victims.
Like I said, I have been a victim, I guess we'll call it, although I take full responsibility for all of my own decisions. So none of us are really victims, right? We knew the risks and we took them.
That's Scott Melker. And yeah, he seems great. After a lot of his followers potentially lost all their money, he tells them that there's no such thing as victims. This is crypto brain rot at its finest. And it's also, of course, happens to be wrong, of course, because this idea that everyone understood the risks is simply not true, as I'm going to demonstrate. Because let's take a look at that, how Voyager collapsed, to see what people actually knew. It turns out this news of Voyager suspending withdrawals came right after Stephen Ehrlich, their CEO, said that the money was safe.
Our customers' assets are safe and we're processing everything as normal.
And Scott Melker himself said that he was shown evidence that the money was fine.
I hit up their CFO. They showed me a whole lot of evidence that things are fine, that they're operating in a completely different manner. and I continue to hold my assets there.
Of course, this all turned out to be a lie. Voyager wasn't fined. See, it turns out Voyager was actually insolvent because one of the loans they had given out had just gone bad. But they didn't want to scare anyone, so they told people at the last possible moment that they were insolvent. Which brings us to their second lie and misrepresentation, which is their marketing. They said that they had a low-risk approach to investing, but actually it turns out that they actually gave 50% of their loans or more to a single person or hedge fund. Yeah, that's what diversification looks like these days. According to their documents, Voyager gave $654 million of their loans to a single hedge fund called 3 Arrows Capital. Now, what did 3 Arrows Capital do with that money? Well, they invested it in Luna, which after it collapsed, basically made this loan worthless. And this is where I realized that Voyager was absolutely full of it, as were any influencers claiming that everyone understood the risks. This is explicitly and provably false. Voyager lied, and not just about the low risks. It turns out there was a lot more to this story too. See, one of Voyager's big claims to fame was FDIC insurance for cash. This is because they claimed they had a partnership with a legitimate bank, the Metropolitan Commercial Bank. Now, the reason they were able to claim this, apparently, was because when you put your money with Voyager, your cash, they would then put that money with the bank. And according to them, and some magical transitive property that they made up, the bank's FDIC insurance would cover you even though you didn't put your money technically with the bank. You put it with Voyager. But they said that FDIC insurance applied. They even advertised as much. Quote, "In the rare event, due to the company or our banking partner's failure, you are guaranteed a full reimbursement." The problem is, though, that's not actually what they said in their terms of service. They said you were only covered in the event of the bank's failure, not Voyager's. Quote, "FDIC insurance does not protect against the failure of Voyager," which is a pretty big difference, especially when Voyager failed. And all those people who got in thinking their USD was safe all of a sudden realized that maybe it wasn't. So yeah, that's a pretty massive lie and probably is illegal, although I have to say I am not a lawyer, although it is being investigated as we speak by the FDIC. But speaking of lawyers, this is where things go absolutely bananas. Because Voyager has obviously been desperate to find a way out of this situation. And their latest attempt is declaring Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which I know you might think that means they're going bust, but it's not quite right. See, bankruptcy isn't just one thing. There's many types, which I know is a bit confusing. It's like hearing someone's a doctor and then realizing it's not the helpful kind, it's the lecturing kind. Anyways, the point is there's many kinds of bankruptcies, just like there's many kinds of doctors, and they all do kind of different things. So to be clear, Chapter 11 is not where you sell everything and close up shop. It's a special kind of bankruptcy designed to let you restructure your business to repay debts. Meanwhile, everything just kind of goes on pause. And Voyager loves this idea because it lets them stay alive. They think they can restructure their way out of insolvency by, drumroll please, printing more money. That's right. They're going to print more Voyager bucks and shares of Voyager. Now, the problem with this, of course, is what's the value of coins and shares in a company that is insolvent? It's not very clear. It doesn't seem very high. So this seems like a pretty raw deal for investors. But a bigger problem for Voyager is not that. It's that actually what they're doing might not be legal. Let me explain. See, only certain types of companies are eligible for a Chapter 11 bankruptcy. When you go to file, one of the first things they ask is to describe the debtor's business. They list several options like stockbroker, commodity broker, clearing bank. But Voyager ticks none of these when they filled it out. They say it's none of the above in their filing. Now, this is pretty strange because the CEO describes their business as a brokerage. They say this multiple times. So why does this even matter? Well, the reason they were asked earlier if they're a stockbroker or commodity broker is because those companies and businesses aren't allowed to do a Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Instead, they're liquidated under a very special law called SIPA, the Securities Investors Protection Act. Basically, it's a law designed for exactly this case, when brokerages go bust. And it's good for the investors because they get special protections and are the first to get paid, according to Axios reporting. And this is very different from regular bankruptcies, where investors can be the absolute last to get paid. So a SIPA liquidation could be good for investors. So why is Voyager not doing a SIPA liquidation? Well, it seems like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too, because on the one hand, they claim to be a brokerage, but they're not filing bankruptcy as a traditional brokerage, and instead are trying to file a Chapter 11. And I know it's getting complicated, but this is really important for the investors. The reason they're doing this is because under a SIPA liquidation, even though customers might get a better deal, there's basically no chance of Voyager's plan to print more money and stocks is gonna fly. Not only that, Voyager would probably have to cease operations. And so obviously Voyager doesn't want that. So instead, they're trying to claim that as a crypto broker, they're not selling securities or anything that classifies as a stock or commodity, which is very gray regulatory territory. Not only that, they're claiming that all their customers' crypto is actually their crypto, and that their customers are just unsecured creditors. So the customers don't actually own anything. And this is where I have to tell you that this is pure lawyer jujitsu. They are trying to save Voyager's skin at the expense of their investors. Because let's be clear, Voyager was absolutely happy to advertise things like the easy way to build and track your crypto portfolio. But when push comes to shove, they say your crypto portfolio doesn't actually belong to you at all. It actually means build Voyager's crypto portfolio, because they're saying they actually are the ones that own it. And if you're confused about all this, how this advertising possibly makes sense, you're supposed to be. It doesn't make sense. Not only that, Voyager's own app told people explicitly that they own the crypto they bought. Thankfully, in their first bankruptcy hearing, the judge pointed this out and questioned whether Voyager had even filed the right type of bankruptcy case, suggesting that it met the criteria for liquidating as a, quote, broker-dealer with protected customer accounts, which obviously they want to avoid for the reasons we just explained. This reporting comes from Reuters, and I think this judge is absolutely right. In what world would buying crypto be so different from, say, buying a stock on Robinhood? It's a regulatory mess, sure, but customers deserve regulatory protection. And the only people who's arguing that they don't is Voyager. Although their lawyer, a guy named Sussberg, says that they're doing this for the good of the customers, actually. See, we have it all twisted. They claim that, quote, it would result in a lot of expensive litigation that would benefit no one. Now, to be honest, I think Sussberg is wrong here and doesn't have their investors' best interests at heart, because obviously he works for Voyager, not for the investors. And anytime someone is trying to tell you that your money is not your money and that they've already lied to you about FDIC insurance and all these other things, I would be very skeptical if they told you they're working in your best interest. Instead, it looks like Voyager is acting in Voyager's best interest. But I suppose the real question is, what happens now? Well, it's actually not clear. The judge rightfully points out that the case presents several novel legal questions, and I think part of that outcome will be determined by what Voyager's customers want to do, whether they go along with Voyager's plans or if they raise concerns that maybe they actually feel like they own securities and not just unsecured credit. According to a restructuring lawyer named Robert Honeywell, this could move their claim higher up on the list because owners of securities are more protected than just owners of random things. But with all this said and the outcome not very clear, I feel like the lessons are actually pretty clear. Influencers and celebrities are bad and sad in this case because they lost a lot of money. Investors are screwed, but maybe not completely, depending on how all this shakes out. And Voyager lied some more about the state of their finances and risk and FDIC insurance, and is now trying to play some games with bankruptcy law to save themselves. And I just can't help but thinking maybe there are some victims here. Now, will Voyager's plan work? I don't know. But either way, if you enjoy high effort investigations like this, please pump the stock. It really helps. And don't forget to use code MAV at checkout.
Code MAVS100.
This could be a movie. This guy sets up, first of all, among the other scams that he's already done, he sets up halal capital and investment funds, raises millions of dollars from investors. They don't get paid. Why? Because Jay Mazzini claims to get robbed at gunpoint. Then he gets sued, and his partner is part of a sworn affidavit against Jay Mazzini. He's done. Look, he's done. But I'm here to report to you guys to watch the dumpster fire. That's what we do here at Coffeezilla. We watch these scammers, we laugh at them, and when they go down, we're here. We're here to watch it all burn down, and that's what we're doing today. Now, without further ado, welcome to the $10 Million Studio. I'm your host, Coffeezilla, and today, like I said, we're talking about Jay Mazzini, who has now become really the Coffeezilla Chief Clown Officer, which is very tough to do. We talk about a lot of clowns on this channel, so for him to really reach that pinnacle, first of all, congratulations, Jay. Second of all, yeah, this is a continuation from like the giveaway scam, from the Bitcoin scam. Now we're talking about like capital investment scam. And if I could just ask you guys if anything, look, I know you already pumped the stock. You got to pump the Zilla stock. Respect the pump. But if you could share this video in particular with anyone who might be vulnerable to this, I know people are actively getting scammed for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like literally, I have victims in my inbox all the time, and you know, it's absolutely disgusting. So if you could do that, if you could share that to get the word out, that's the only way this guy's going to go down. Now, the lawsuit we're talking about today, just remember everything is alleged, but there is a pattern of activity here. So without further ado, let's talk about this scumbag, huh? Let's go back to the beginning. Who is Jay Mazzini, for those of you who don't know? Well, he's mostly just known on Instagram, and he portrays this lifestyle of giving away money. I'm such a good guy. I go to Target or whatever, Walmart, and give to the kids, right? In reality, he's using this lifestyle to launder his reputation, to make people trust him, because he does a bunch of scams that require you to trust him, right? Now, a lawsuit just came out from the state of New York, and Jay Mazzini and some of his cronies are listed in here, where he has now created a whole thing called halal capital, okay? This is for Muslims, people of faith, and it was a community like investment opportunity, right? He used a guy from the community, and this is so disgusting. You guys are gonna like throw up in your mouth when you hear about this. So he used this guy, Noor Rabba. He is a resident of the state of New York, and he was a funeral director and a community activist. Right here, funeral home owner and community activist. He met this guy, Jay Mazzini, and Jay Mazzini used his background, saying he came from a wealthy family, was well known in the Muslim community and everything, wanted to basically give away stuff, give away money to the community. Jay described himself as a licensed financial professional and expert investor who had grown his wealth several times. Then look at this. Noor spoke of his work as a funeral director, explaining that he saw his work as a community service and was well known to provide free or low-cost funerals to those in need. So you can think of, there's two characters. Jay Mazzini saying, oh, I'm so rich, I'm so blah, blah, blah. And then there's Noor, who's like this community activist. He's like helping people who are, you know, suffering their worst loss. Just a nice guy overall. Now, over several months, they meet up, and basically, Jay Mazzini says, look, we should set up something for the community.
Together as a community, trying to better the community.
We should set up something using your financial expertise, Noor's like, you know, connections with the community to raise funds for an investment opportunity. So they do this thing called halal capital. Noor's role was to raise funds from his community contacts, and then Jay Mazzini was to invest their money. Now, this guy does his job. He collects millions of dollars from this community of faith who trust this guy because he's the funeral director. Meanwhile, this guy thinks, oh, well, the money's in good hands. It's in Jay Mazzini's hands. Isn't he that guy that helps people? Isn't he that, this is so disgusting. Isn't he that guy that goes to train stations giving flowers away? Like, this is the level of sociopathy that we're dealing with. And literally, one of the largest investors was a mosque in Brooklyn that was seeking a long-term halal investment that would fund its ongoing operations. If you guys don't know, in Islam, I believe, I'm not too familiar, but I think halal is like, you know, things that are okay. Haram are things that are not okay to do. So basically, this guy's selling himself as like, I'm the guy who can give you access to, great investments while also staying like holy, right? And the point is that this went on until people started asking for their money back, right? They're told, oh, we're making all this money. So in April 2020, several investors sought to withdraw their funds. Instead of paying them, Jay Mazzini made a series of excuses. Jabara is Jay Mazzini's real first name, including that investments were delayed by COVID-19 pandemic and appealing to their shared religious background as evidence of his good faith. Whenever Noor expressed concern about the investors' funds, Jay Mazzini would deflect with references to his own extraordinary wealth, at times even offering to personally guarantee investments. The scheme unravels further. Dissatisfied, frustrated, and concerned for HC investors, Noor became aggressive in his demands for information from Jay Mazzini, requesting sit-downs with his family and others. Ultimately, his responses became so outlandish that Noor determined that judicial intervention is required. So this guy, this community activist who basically took money from all these people that he thought he was going to a good place, realizes that this thing's falling apart. This guy's lying. He is now he realized, look, I'm responsible for millions of dollars of my community, and this guy's a con man. According to this lawsuit, the entire fund that he raised was $10 million in funding from people. So this isn't like chump change. This isn't like, oh, I had some spare change lying around that I could afford to lose. These are people's life savings that are invested with this man, this con man. And what do they get out of it? By November 7th, 2020, people are starting to get super aggressive. I mean, they've been yanked around forever. So they're saying you gotta pay us now. Well, the payments were scheduled for August, didn't happen. Then August 22nd, pay attention, guys, pay attention. Jay Mazzini advised Noor that he had been robbed at gunpoint. Hey, does anybody buy that? So, I'm supposed to give you your money. I was going to give it to you, but oops, I was robbed. I mean, this rivals, what's his name? Oh, Jesse Smollett's whole thing of I was hung by a noose or whatever. This is that level of a lie. He says that he didn't know the exact amount stolen, but he estimated it to be in millions of dollars. And he said, oh, oops, it was all stolen in cash, and then he had little to nothing left for payouts. So what is he actually saying there? He's going, look, I was carrying around this bag of money, just millions of dollars. It just, I guess, around New York? Where does, I don't know where this guy is. This case is in New York. I was just carrying a bag of cash that was all the investors' money. I was just carrying it around in cash. Well, why isn't it invested? I don't know. He gets robbed at gunpoint and goes, I can't pay you. I can't pay you. I'd show you the video where he's talking about this stuff, but I believe it's actually in Arabic, so I can't be of any help to you guys. But he made this claim on August 22nd. He says that at the time the alleged robbery occurred, his bodyguards happened to not be present. He claims he filed a report with the local police department, but to date has failed to produce the police report. Oops. So do you have a police report or do you not? And at this point, I'm sure some of you guys are shouting at your screen. How is this real? I mean, it's so sad, and it's also so comically ludicrous. Look, even the lawsuit itself says it's become increasingly fantastical. Yeah, that's kind of true. And now the investors are suing this guy. They're suing Jay Mazzini for their money, even though he continues to say, oh, hey, I acknowledge my failures. I won't let that happen again and be late on the brothers. Money is the least of my worries. Actually, it seems like it's your biggest worry. But here's the craziest part yet. His own partner, right? This guy who has been helping the community, he has now signed a sworn affidavit against Jay Mazzini that basically, oh yeah, this guy's basically scammed him. It's affirming the lawsuit. So think about how crazy that is. The guy, he's a 50% stake owner in Halal Capital. Remember, it was Jay Mazzini and this guy. And this guy signs a sworn affidavit that basically says, we've been robbed, essentially. I mean, that's essentially what it is. And they're trying to get their money back. But I'm putting this out there as a very serious warning to anyone, because Jay Mazzini is right now aggressively trying to scam other people with the Bitcoin scam. And I'm sure he's got, I mean, knowing him, he's got a bunch of other scams going on, because obviously when we thought it was just the giveaway, obviously it was the Bitcoin, it was this as well. So please do not give this man your money. Share this far and wide. His biggest audience is on Instagram. I have zero Instagram audience. So if you're on Instagram, please speak out about this. Yeah, I don't see this going anywhere but further south for Jay Mazzini. I think this is going to be a very bad time for him. But how could you do this to somebody? How could you do this to a community of faith? I mean, really, your community at all. It's your community. It's like not even just stealing from strangers. You're stealing from people, abusing that trust in order to take more money from them. How evil can you be? This is so disgusting and disturbing to even look at that I feel like after this, I'm going to have to go wash my eyes out. I hate looking at this stuff.
We already know a lot of the fake gurus. But one thing that occurs to me is that one day I won't be making these videos anymore. One day, fake gurus will just be allowed to start up and no one will be there to call them out. And so I want to leave a guide to you for the people that I don't cover. How do you know whether someone's a fake guru or not? Well, I have 10 red flags. Just like there's maybe red flags on a date, you know, they're rude to the waiter, you know, red flag. It doesn't mean they're off the table, but if you have enough red flags, everyone knows you have enough red flags, you run for the hills. So let me give you my top 10 list. Red flag number 1, mastermind. If they say mastermind at all, come join my mastermind. Red flag 2, cars. They have cars in their videos all the time, and they're always showing you their wonderful cars and how they're just living the life.
Here are my
red flag. I mean, you look at people like Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, people like that. Do they show off their wealth? No, they don't need to show it off. They got it. They got it like that. Oftentimes the people show it off.
See, loud rich niggas got low money, and loud broke niggas got no money. The irony behind it is so funny.
What's next? Anybody who disparages real jobs.
And I don't know about you guys, but I know as my job as an accountant, it probably would have taken me 100 years to save that much.
4 reasons why having a 9-to-5 job is actually high risk.
And they start doing the thing we talked about, go to school and get a job, right? Yeah. So with that, this was his lesson number 1, and the rich don't work for money.
Red flag. Oh, this one's huge. Absolutely a massive red flag. Let me invite you to my live webinar, because what basically all that tells you is that they're lying. Because the live webinar thing is a gimmick. They're not actually live, they're pre-recorded. They're like set up to look live.
You say in the first bullet point to remind them why they should come to the live webinar.
Yes.
But, from what I understand, your webinars are now not live anymore, so they're recorded. So are you open up front?
Good question. Good question. Make sure the live thing I can convert, I can sell. Now you automate it, right? Now you can scale. Make sense? Yep.
Yes, it does. But once you get to the point and you have an automated webinar, are you up front and say it's automated?
I don't.
Pre-recorded.
No, I don't.
You give them the impression that it's not.
Yeah.
Live recorded webinar.
Live recorded, I like that.
When anyone puts that much time and effort into deceiving you and making you think something that's not actually true, you have to be wondering what else they're lying to you about. So red flag on that. And a lot of gurus do it. Like Dan Locke does it. John Crestani does it. A lot of those gurus do the live webinar thing that's not really live. Red flag. Paid course. Huge red flag. Why is someone who's a millionaire who has all this money need to sell courses? Well, red flag. Does it mean that all paid courses are scams? No. I feel like I have to reiterate this a million times. But just the more red flags, the worse off you are. This is a really good one. Younger than 35. I hesitated putting this in because on the one hand, I'm younger than 35, you know? I'm not trying to be ageist against myself. But let's put it this way. To be a coach, you kind of have to have done it all. And most people under 35 just haven't had enough life experience. Your life barely starts until you're 20. So to say that you need 10 or 15 years to really know what you're doing in a field, it's not crazy to say. Like the 2 gurus I like are like Gary Vee and Grant Cardone. The biggest reason for both of them is that they have real businesses totally outside of their guru-ship. And they're both over 35, guys. So they have a little bit of years under their belt. So you're not a 20-year-old listening to another 20-year-old, okay? Next one, financial history. They make big claims with very little evidence for those claims.
I'm Brock Johnson. I went from $0 to $6 million in my first 6 months selling on Amazon.
Show me the money. If anyone makes wild claims, you need some pretty wild evidence. Number 8. I'm just going to say 8. I don't know if it's 8. Runs YouTube or Facebook ads. Red flag. Next one. Free book. Go get my free booklet. Bro, this is what's called a lead funnel, okay? Let me explain real quick, because this is how fake gurus get you. They know how psychology works. Fake gurus are geniuses with psychology. So what they know is that when you are given something, you're more likely to go and buy the higher product. So they give you something for free with the idea that, number one, now they're going to have your email info and they know you're already interested in their product. And number two, they're going to go relentlessly pursue your business and try to upsell you on these crazy products. Final fake guru red flag. They endlessly talk about mentors.
So do you need a mentor? Most successful entrepreneurs, did they have mentors? Bill Gates had Ed Roberts, Oprah Winfrey had Mary Duncan, Steve Jobs had Robert Friedland, Buffett had Benjamin Graham, Michael Jordan had Phil Jackson. And I can go on and on of people and their mentors. Change the word mentor for coach. Albert Einstein, one of the smartest people in history, had a mentor. He had a mentor. His father at 15 and a half. And was mentored, and in turn he mentored others. Your mentorship. Mentors.
Now, there's nothing wrong with a mentor, and mentors are good. But oftentimes, this language is used to kind of pitch themselves as your future mentor. And when you this is sort of a red flag that's tied with another red flag, which is if they're talking all the time about mentors and they offer a paid course, red flag. They're trying to set themselves up as your guru and tying a bunch of money to it. Like, I happen to know that Dan Locke has all his students call him Sifu Day, and they have to call him Sifu when they're in his course. First of all, cringe. Second of all, red flag. The guy is like playing some mind games. As soon as someone puts themselves in a mentorship over you, they now know what's best for you. I would say mentors are good, but find ones who are not interested in profiting off you, right? Find them, and those do exist out there, and it doesn't have to be someone from the internet. It can be someone from your life, a relative, someone who knows you well and just likes you as a person. But the second people start attaching money to this mentorship, that's a red flag. So how do we score the red flags? So here's what we're doing. If you have a 1 to 2, probably not a fake guru. Give them a pass. At least investigate more. If you have, let's say, 3 to 4, use caution, use your best judgment, be a little skeptical. 5, skepticism starts to kick in. This is where it's like, and maybe you don't even know about the other red flags yet, but don't even consider paying for anything. Very likely that person's a fake guru. 6 to 9, just run away. Just absolutely run away. Don't even waste your time, okay? Any time you waste on their sort of things is you're just falling into their sales funnel. I mean, it's all just a sales funnel at that thing. And if they have 10 red flags, send me an email because I want to talk about them. I really hope that helps you navigate the world from now on. If I haven't talked about a fake guru, just run them through the system.
I like that.
Welcome to Coffeezilla, guys. Today we have a bit of a different thing going on. We're going to do, I don't know what to call this series yet, but we're going to start talking to people who run real businesses with legit jobs to teach some of you guys that after you get out of the guru bubble, what do you do? How can you set yourself up for success? And I know a lot of you guys, some of you want to go alternate career paths. I'm a big fan of trade school. I don't think everyone needs to go to college. So for our first guest today, I'm very happy to have probably the biggest plumber on YouTube, Roger Wakefield, who's here to tell us a bit about the plumbing trade, how you can get into it, and why you should consider it as a viable career option. Thank you, Roger, for coming on the show.
No, thanks for having me here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so to get into it, I think more than most trades, people think of maybe plumbing as like dirty. They don't really understand what goes on in a day in the life. And sure, I'm sure you get your hands dirty from time to time. But tell me a bit about how you got started.
I was actually 16 years old. I was managing a restaurant. I was a junior in high school. And late one night, I'm working with a real good friend of mine. And I mean, still one of my best friends today. And we're talking, and I had actually quit school. And he looked at me and said, so what are you going to do? He said, are you going to manage restaurants forever? And I said, dude, I'm 16 years old. I'm managing a restaurant. Life is good. I was probably making $5 an hour or something. And he said, what happens if you get fired? Who's going to hire a 16-year-old restaurant manager? And it was crazy. Not long after that, I either quit or got fired. He was telling me that night about his 3 brothers and his father that were all plumbers. And I remembered that conversation. So I contacted one of his brothers. I got into plumbing and I fell in love with it. I found out later that I had to have my diploma or something in order to get my plumbing license. So I went ahead, and luckily I was far enough ahead when I quit. So I went back to high school, graduated with my class, and got back into plumbing. And that's how it all started for me.
You said you fell in love with it. That's what I'm most interested in, because I think a lot of people, they think of life callings as if some siren in the sky is going to sing down to them and say, you should be a whatever. And I'm of the mindset, this is my personal belief, that you fall in love with what you're an expert at. And as you get better at something, you fall in love with it more because your expertise really conveys a sense of like purpose and meaning. Did you find that to be true, or how did you fall in love with plumbing?
In the beginning, it was something I enjoyed. We were literally, it was a remodel, a commercial remodel is the very first project I ever did. But it blew my mind how you could take a building and add on to it and tie on to the existing plumbing, electrical structure and just make it bigger. And I tell people all the time, if you're interested in getting into the trades, and remember, not just plumbing, but the trades.
Exactly.
And I tell people, do you like to build things or do you like to fix things? If you like to build things, you probably want to get into the new construction end of it. If you like to fix things, you probably want to get into the service side of it. And then I go on from there and I ask people, do you want to do residential, which is just 1 or 2 story houses, something like that?
Right.
Or do you want to do commercial and build big office buildings? One of the biggest jobs that I ever did is I built the 2 million square foot community hospital here in Dallas, Parkland Hospital. And it was amazing. Loved it. I've done some great things and thoroughly enjoy it. But now what I do is I do residential service. So when I opened my own company, I knew it's going to be easier for me to start a residential service company than it is anything else. So I always ask people, build things or fix things, commercial or residential. And then my last question is union or non-union. When I got into plumbing, I just wanted to be a plumber. That's all I knew. Now there's so much more about it, the opportunities and things you can learn and things you can do. So it's been very interesting.
Yeah. Sorry if you can hear my dog in the background. He's going crazy right now.
Thank God it's yours. My dog's here and it's in the other office and I'm hearing it through the headphones.
Oh, I can't hear that at all. Yeah.
I guess it's yours because I kept thinking, God, if that's Harley, I wish they'd make him be quiet.
Yeah, sorry about that. I tried muting myself during your answer, but anyway, sorry to the viewers. That's what that is.
Hey, we're both dog guys, people. Get over it. It's okay.
That's absolutely right. So I think that's a really interesting side is people, I think just due to a lack of knowledge, and that's what I'm hoping to somewhat address in this series, is a lack of knowledge about how broad and diverse jobs that you think of as like, oh, you're just a plumber or you're just an electrician, or they think like one size fits all. And the truth about these jobs is usually that there's a million different directions you can go with it. I mean, you said you own your own company now. That's something that I know a lot of my audience is interested in, and they perhaps never thought of like, oh, this is a viable career path and a common career path for people in the trades is to eventually start their own company when they have, enough experience. So can you speak a little bit to that? Because a lot of my community is very entrepreneurial minded, but they're just listening to these
online gurus that are telling them you're going to make $1 million in a couple years or whatever. Can you speak to, your journey to becoming successful and how long it actually takes?
Absolutely. I've got 40 years experience, so I've done this for a long time. Literally when I started 1980, and one of the things that my buddy told me that night, he said, look, robots will never take this job away from you. And at the time, they were talking about, look, one day robots are going to rule the world. We're going to have flying cars by now.
They're still saying
yada, yada. I know. Y'all are hearing the same thing we heard when we were kids. Just remember that. We heard it a long time ago. We're still not there yet. The neat thing about it, though, is it's true. Robots are never going to be able to get out and do the things that we do, at least not anytime soon. So if you're interested in becoming an entrepreneur, think about it like this. If you go to college, say you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, let's not even say that. Just say you want to be a CPA, something that you need a good college degree for. You're going to have 4 years of school, anywhere from, let's say, $25,000 to $50,000 a year. So your education is going to cost you $100,000 to $200,000 over a 4-year period. You can join a trade school, either become a plumber, become an electrician, a carpenter. There's a lot of different trade schools out there. A mason. It doesn't have to be just plumbers and electricians. There's roofers. There's HVAC techs. Yeah. You bet. There's a lot of different things. But the thing is if you join a union or a trade school and you get an education over the 4 years, which the Plumbers Union here in Dallas, it's a 5-year training program. But over that 5 years, you start out at $17 an hour and you end up, right now it's at about $34, $35 an hour. But 5 years from now, when these young men and women turn out, it's going to be about $40 an hour. So imagine if you've got 5 years invested in your training, whether it's college or a trade school. 4 years of college plus 1 year out looking for a job and getting a job, you're still entry-level position with not much history, not much background, not much experience. So you're going to be at an entry-level pay. If you go through a union training program and I say union training program just because I used to teach in the union and I'm familiar with it. But if you join the union at the same time that you would have started college, now 4 or 5 years later, you're making $30, almost $40 an hour. You've been making $17 an hour with 4 raises a year since then. So it's not like you just go from 17 to 34. You go from 17 to 19 to 21, and it just keeps going up. But you've been making this kind of money for 4 years. So now instead of having a student debt, you've actually had income. So what if you just took that money that you made and invested it?
Right.
You stay living at home, you go to school. And I used to know a welder. He lived at home with his parents. He was driving a brand new Chevy dually truck everywhere he went and still putting money up because he lived with his parents the whole time through his apprentice training program. So he had put up, $100,000, $200,000. Where would you rather be? Owe somebody $100 or $200 or pocket $100 or $200? It's a big delta there.
Big delta. And especially, I think one of the biggest things I would like my audience to know is that the real way to become wealthy, like everyone's always talking about, is actually savings and investments. I mean, everybody knows eventually you want to get away from your working hours being the way you make money, and eventually your investments. That's definitely how the ultra wealthy are making their money. So you're right. Getting that head start can make a huge difference. I have a friend who went into HVAC after kind of like jumping around jobs forever, and he loves it. I mean, when he first got in, he's like, I don't really know if this is right for me. But 4 years down the line, getting that expertise, getting that experience, now he likes going to work. He loves what he does. And the other thing too is it makes you a really hands-on guy. I mean, a lot of people like myself, I left college, when I graduated college, I can't fix a sink. I'm a homeowner now. And it's like some of the stuff I'm having to like relearn. I'm like, oh man, I'm an engineer, but something, like turning a pipe. And one of the cool things about trades is that the people you always see in the trades, I know a few people in the trades, they're extremely handy. Like you give them any problem, they'll find a way to fix it. And I think something some people should think about is when they think of hands-on stuff, you're usually talking about the trades. That's the job that's out there doing it. The engineers laying plans, they're in CAD, they're in all these things, but they're not actually on the ground in the field.
And that's a neat way you put it, is they're in CAD too. My son started out, he joined the apprentice training program, came up through it. He became a pipe fitter. So pipe fitter, welder, they go hand in hand. But what he did, he is now working in the estimating department. He's on the computer all day and he loves it. He's making 6 figures a year. He's still got his benefits. He goes in at 6 o'clock. He's working on a computer. They don't care what time he's there. He goes in at 6. He's off by 2:30, 3 o'clock, enjoys his day, but he's very mechanically inclined because of the things that he learned and how to use tools. It's crazy. My wife, there's so many times she's like, well, I need to put my car in the shop for this. It's like, well, I'll do that. She just looks at me and she's like, you can do that? And it's like, yeah. Man, it's just, what kind of tools do you have and what do you need to fix it? That's what it takes.
Yeah. So walk me through, I mean, you said you taught union, which I think is really interesting. So walk people through, let's say somebody sees this and says, hey man, this sounds a lot better than I thought. I want to learn more. Walk me through one, learning more, which they can actually go to your YouTube channel, Roger Wakefield, check that out. But tell me a little bit how they can learn more, and also about, okay, they decide they want to take that next step. What does that look like for them? What is that?
I've got some great videos about that, but one of the first things is the questions that I asked a while ago. You need to be able to answer those. Do you want to do residential or commercial? Do you want to do new construction or service? Do you want to be union or non-union? And let's go back even before that one. What trade do you want to do? Guys, I'm a plumber and I talk about plumbing, but everything that I'm talking about right now could be for electrical, for HVAC, for concrete, for windows. I mean, there's a million different things that involve the trades, but you need to decide what would interest you. Because what you don't want to do, if you don't like plumbing, if you think, oh my gosh, if I ever had to walk up to a stopped up toilet, man, that would never work, plumbing may not be for you. But then again, if you're one of those guys, I don't ever want to get shocked, that would just scare the heck out of me, don't become an electrician. So figure out what you want to do first. Then from there, start looking for a job or start looking for a school. If it's the union, you can go to the United Association for Plumbers, the IBEW for electricians. There's so many different unions. And to be honest, one of the best ones to join, the elevator union. The guys that build elevators have got the amazing benefits in the world.
Are you serious?
Man, I talked to an elevator guy one day. I was on a union job, and I say union, I was a union plumber at the time, and went over and talked to him and found out that they were union. I was like, man, that's really neat. So tell me about it. They're set up where once you work over, I think it's 1,500 hours a year, everything else starts adding. So you could literally retire in like 15 years with 30 years experience because they get so many extra credits for anything over a certain number of hours. And I'm like, man, I should have joined the elevator union. But don't get me wrong, it's going to be harder to get in because there's not as much residential work. Yeah. But and there's not as much elevator work, I would think, in a building as there is plumbing. But, and at the end of the day, if you're just wanting a job that pays good and has great benefits, that would be phenomenal. Mm-hmm. You said that a lot of your people, Stephen, want to be entrepreneurs.
Yeah, 100%.
Think about it. If you're a plumber, and even a plumbing license is not really required in every state. Now, I'm in Texas. There is a license here, and we're fighting for it. But even as a plumber, I can go to school let's say it this way. I can go to school for 5 years through a Department of Labor training program. I can get my journeyman license after the first 4 years. And then after the 5th year, I can get my master license. Then really all I need is, of course, the responsible master plumber to own my own company. I recommend people get a little bit more experience than that. Right. If you want to do residential service, work residential service and learn it well. Learn business. That's the biggest thing that I had to learn whenever I finally started my own company after 35 years of working for other people. I don't know anything about running a business. I'm a great plumber, I can walk into a house and solve a problem and fix it, but I know nothing about business, making the phone ring, paying taxes, all the other things that are involved.
Right. Marketing, how hiring, managerial, right? Yeah. That's really interesting. But at the same time, you've got a lot of it already solved, which is you have that hard skill. A lot of people, they want to do the business side first, but what are they selling? They don't have anything to sell. They don't have any actual hard skill that puts them ahead of anybody else. They want to drop ship on the internet, and they want the business side, but they don't have the hard skill that actually makes the business side make sense. And so that's why I'm encouraging people to go get a hard skill where you have some kind of either credentialing, or you have, if you want to do, whatever it be, have some kind of hard skill that sets you apart from other people, so that no matter what happens with your dreams of owning your own business or anything else, you can eventually have a job wherever you go. I mean, that's the thing about these trades, is that even if the business didn't work out, obviously you're doing very well now. Even if the business didn't work out, you could always just go back and go do what you've been doing.
And Stephen, what you just said is, I've actually got out of plumbing before. I moved to Austin and was doing sprinkler work, fire protection systems. I loved Austin so much, and it was the late 80s, wasn't a lot of construction work going on. I got into the bar business. I was a bartender and a bouncer. And whenever I moved back to town, I managed a restaurant for a little while. I actually became a cosmetologist and a massage therapist.
Wow.
I mean, I used to have hair down to my waist, believe it or not. But I could always do that. But I got back into plumbing because I've always loved it. So what you just said, I mean, I could shut my company down tomorrow, move to California, and find a job plumbing.
Yeah.
And, since I'm part of the union, I could even try to transfer through the union if I wanted to. The opportunities are phenomenal. On my channel, I have people from other countries, Africa, New Zealand, everywhere, reaching out saying, look, I want to come to the United States and be a plumber. Can I work for you? And it blows their mind when I tell them, look, I'm just a little small company, but I've grown to what I have by learning the things that I needed to learn. And the big thing that you said is, I was a good plumber, but I didn't understand marketing. Mm-hmm. That's what brought me to social media marketing world, to start studying social media. I got tired of getting ripped off by marketing companies.
Oh yeah, that's a whole thing. I mean, there's something to the idea that if you want something done, you just gotta figure out how to do it yourself. So yeah, no, I mean, social media is definitely a trip, but you seem like you're really getting the hang of it. Your set's really nice. How long have you been at this? Just curious.
Put it this way. I leave Saturday morning to go to social media marketing world. 2 years ago, I walked in for the first time and knew nothing in the world about social media.
Wow. So you're a fast learner, huh?
I've become a student of it. I love this. I think what the neatest thing about it is, I have people reach out to me and say, hey, I want to be a plumber. I saw your video. Right. You've got me excited about it. My parents want me to go to college. I'm telling them, no, this is what I want to do. And man, that makes you feel amazing.
That is really amazing. I want to actually go back to something you said that I thought was really interesting, which is the part about people are really worried about automation and robots taking your job, whatever. It's actually funny. People don't know this. The first jobs that actually go when AI and all that stuff gets better is actually not plumber jobs or anything requiring getting out in the field. It's always the desk jobs that go first, which is the whole irony behind it. Like you used to have, accountants. Well, now you have TurboTax, where just some robot does. I mean, obviously there's still room for accountants at the higher level, but what jobs are getting squeezed out first? It's the white collar jobs. And I think people are missing that because I've been reading that, blue collar jobs people are expecting a shortage because not enough people are going into the trades. So there's this huge opportunity.
And it's not that we're expecting it. We're in the middle of it. I'm fighting with the state of Texas right now. It's taking so long to get people licensed that, we're short plumbers. You can contact any plumber in the state that owns a company and ask them, what's your biggest problem? And it's the fact that handymen are out doing our work. They're not licensed. They're not doing it right, but there's not enough plumbers. Mike Rowe talks about it. Mr. Wonderful talks about it. We've got $5 trillion, I think, in student debt, and we've got 1 million unfilled trade jobs that, people can walk right out of high school and start doing.
It seems like this huge gap, and that's actually why I started. I'm trying to start this series. Is it seems like there's a gap in people who are leaving high school. They don't know what they want to do. They know they don't want to go to college, but they don't know what's next. It seems like there's an educational gap in the opportunities that they have, because they think to themselves, the only thing I'm qualified for is to go work at TJ Maxx or Whataburger if you're in Texas, or whatever have you, some minimal education job, which might be fine to get you a paycheck. That's always good. But taking that next step, I don't think people realize how good of an opportunity trades are. You can get right in, right out of high school, just like you said. You set yourself up for a real career. You have a job that can take you anywhere. What am I missing here?
You're missing the best part. It's easy to get into.
Yeah.
And think about it. Like I said a while ago, right now, if you get into plumbing here in the Union Apprentice Training Program in Dallas, right out of high school, it starts out at almost $17 an hour. That's a $34,000 a year job right out of high school. And it's going to be $75,000, $80,000 by the time you get out.
Right.
There's insurance that's paid for by the employer. There's a pension plan. So you've got a retirement plan. I think the biggest problem that we've had is the public schools, and my wife used to be a teacher. We have forced college on students for so long, told them, look, if you don't go to college, you're not going to amount to anything. And I love that, because I know so many plumbers and electricians that are millionaires say, okay, y'all go to college so y'all can afford to pay my bills. It is what it is.
I think speak to that a little bit. The idea that trade schools, they'll get you some, they'll get you maybe out of the poorhouse. Maybe some people think you are poor if you work trades. There's this huge, people don't know that you can become a millionaire doing these things.
But you don't even have to become a millionaire. When my wife married me, it blew her mind. I had a Jeep, I had a truck, I had a motorcycle, I've got a nice house, and I've lived in this house for 20 years. So it's not like I just bought it after I opened my own company. As a plumber, and we're going to shoot a video this afternoon, the 10 tips you need to know to make over $100,000 a year. I started making over $100,000 a year as a plumber. I think it was 1999 or 2000. Mm-hmm. I don't know that I've made under $100,000 a year since then. And I've had some years that actually got close to $200,000.
That's great.
So, and this is a plumber. I'm not talking Roger the business owner.
Yeah.
I'm talking Roger the plumber out working a lot of hours and busting his butt to make things happen. And it works. And the funny thing is, and everybody thinks, well, the union plumbers and the construction and all that is great. And if I would have learned and known what I know now as a residential service plumber, I met a plumber a while back and was talking to him. He makes $225,000 to $250,000 a year. He's a plumber in a truck every day. That's what he does.
Wow. How?
Not a bad gig. It's all in you. A lot of the old school plumbers, and this is what's so great for the young people coming up into it that really are like, look, I want to learn this.
Yeah.
As an old school plumber, and this was hard for me to get over once I started my own company. I was that old school plumber. I just wanted to run in and fix the problem, get paid and leave, run to the next job. Now I've learned, well, if I walk into your house and you've got a problem here, I want to figure out what caused that problem. Do you need a water filtration system because the chlorine is eating up the rubbers or the gaskets or whatever the case may be? Do you need an anti-scale device because you have extremely hard water and it's messing up your tub and shower valve? Well, what you don't realize, it's also messing up your dishwasher, your ice maker, your washing machine, things that you can't see. So if I learn to come in and say, Stephen, look, you've got a nice toilet here, but this toilet's 15 years old. I can rebuild it. Here's the cost to do it. I can replace it for, a so-so toilet. Here's the cost to do that. Or you can go this really nice, high-end, ultra-efficient toilet. What would you choose? And that's what it is. You give people options, and that first option may be $400. The second option may be $8. The last one may be $12. Most people are going to be like, you know what, just give me the one in the middle. Let's change it out so I'm saving some water and do this and this and this. But it's giving people options, letting them know what is best for them and what you would recommend, and then just let them choose.
So it's a bit, I mean, what you're talking about is somewhat of sales. It is about like being the expert in the room, teaching them. And that's something you learned as you grew into the job of like, okay, let me not just fix the temporary problem. Let me actually go and improve their life beyond that. And the extra bonus there is that you get to upsell people on more products and you make more money.
Here's the way it was put to me. And this is where it really clicked. And I thought, wow, because I've always been that guy. Look, I'm not going to do sales. I am not that kind of plumber. I don't want to be that kind of plumber. That's just wrong. And I was telling the guy this. He said, okay, so let me ask you this. He said, matter of fact, let me tell you a story. He said, this doctor is on tour at the hospital and he's checking the rooms, and he walks by and he sees a name that he knows. And he walks in and he says, Mr. Johnson, are you okay? He says, well, not really. He says, your arm, I mean, everything's fine. He was in the doctor's office the day before and they had to put a cast on it. He says, oh God, no, my arm's fine. He said, when I got home, I had a massive heart attack. I almost died. They had to bring me to the hospital, and now I'm in here. Doctor says, yeah, I knew that yesterday. He said, well, why didn't you say anything about it? He said, man, your blood pressure was out of the roof. It was crazy. He said, well, why didn't you tell me? He said, man, you were just there to get your arm fixed. So
right.
Think about it like that. Yeah. I mean, if you've got a problem, why not tell somebody and say, hey, look, by the way, your blood pressure is crazy. You may be fixing to have a heart attack or stroke. Let's run a test. Let's do this. Let's check this out. You may need to do this. Mm-hmm. Why not be the same way with plumbing?
Yeah. And that change. I mean, yeah, that totally makes sense why that would change the game, because you really are the expert in the room. You know what's going on. And regardless of whether you want to do sales, I mean, I think what you're saying is it's a matter of just being the expert to inform somebody of what's going on in their house they may have never known. So walk me through the difference between, I want to change the subject a little bit. Because you said you need to answer residential or commercial. Let's start there. What's the difference in the experience of a plumber?
Well, remember, and I asked that question for people wanting to start out. The residential, you're going to build houses. What's neat about it, you'll normally learn all the phases. You'll get in, you'll work on the underground. You'll come back a few days later, you'll do a top out. Come back a few days later, you'll set fixtures. And those are really the three phases. Now, on commercial, jobs are normally so big, you're probably just you're gonna run water, you're gonna do cast iron, or you're gonna do things like that. They don't have all the plumbers on the job at the same time. Meaning, when we broke ground on Parkland Hospital, we didn't have 200 plumbers there for the underground. There were 5 or 10 plumbers and quality control and superintendents and things like that. As the job gets bigger and you're working in more areas, then you bring in more plumbers. So normally plumbers have their specialty. You know, hey, look, man, I can run the heck out of cast iron. I run water lines. I run gas lines. I pipe fit. I weld, whatever it is. You bring them in as you need them. Then you either cut them loose, send them to another job, whatever it is. Residential service is a little bit different. Even residential building, you know, the jobs go so fast, you really probably don't specialize on anything. You can do it all.
Right.
Now, service is a little bit different. Service, or let's go back to residential and commercial. One thing that I tell people about commercial is if you're one of these people, you love going to the same place every day over and over and over again, because some of these big commercial jobs may last 2 or 3 years. So, you know, me, whenever I was I was a superintendent over the remodel for A terminal and E terminal at DFW. I was out there for 5 years, and you get used to going. I mean, you get up, you leave the house at 4, you're on the toll road, you hit the airport at 5, you get into your office, you do your stuff, you go down, meet the guys at 6. It's the same thing every day. Now I come in, I turn on my computer, I get on social media, I go through and check the book. Where do I have guys going today? Start looking at what all we may need. Where are they going to be here? What's the schedule look like? How can I rearrange things to make it better?
Right.
But as a residential plumber, construction wise, you're normally going to be on a job a couple of days at a time, then you're going to be on another one. Service wise, whether you're commercial or residential, you're going to, like a residential service plumber may see 3 or 4 jobs a day. A commercial service plumber may see 1 or 2 because normally the problems are bigger, more entailed, and it may take a little bit longer to fix.
That's a great, I think that's perfect. I mean, because the first thing I thought was when you said you have to be able to answer these questions before you get started, I thought, well, unless you know what actually goes into it, how do you know, which one you want to be? So that gives a good lesson for people. Just what you said. If you like going to the same place every day, you're someone who loves that routine. I know I'm not that person. I like doing a different thing every day. But
absolutely,
other people, I know I can rattle off 10 names right now, that they want to do the same thing the same way every single day. And what you're saying is, well, the 2 different job styles are very different and they fit different people. So I think that's to your point about the versatility of this job.
And the thing is, when I started, I was doing commercial work, it was construction, and I was non-union. Now I'm residential, service, union. So just because you start out somewhere doesn't mean that's where you're going to end up. But now that I know as much as I do, I tell people, look, think about what you like to do. It may help you stay in this trade longer and let this become a career that you really love. People that like to be somewhere different every day, like you and I, man, you put them on a commercial job that's going to last 3 years, and after 6 months, they're like, man, I'm done. I want out of here.
Yeah.
You bet.
So let's talk about things you've learned owning your own business. I think that's an interesting wrinkle in the whole thing. I think, so you said you'd been doing it, 35 years before you started your own company?
About 35 years.
So the biggest shift had to have been going from being on that scale of I'm doing the job that I've been assigned to do. And then all of a sudden you've got the keys, you're in the driver's seat, and it's what do I need to get done? I mean, that's a huge shift in your whole mindset. What are some lessons you've learned from that?
And it's not necessarily what needs to get done, it's what has to get done.
Yeah.
You know, you sign up with these customers and they call you and say, hey, we want you to come. And they expect you to come take care of them. And the thing is, it's funny because I had this conversation yesterday. Most people, when they start out, everything is about transactions. They have to make money. So every relationship they have is transactional. It's all, hey, I need to make money. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I started out a little bit different. I knew I wanted everything to start out as a relationship. So I started getting out to real estate companies, going in and meeting and talking to real estate agents, going in and explaining to real estate agents what we do and why we do it and how we do it. I don't want to be like every other plumbing company out there. I wanted to be different. So we all run into the same problem. How do I make the phone ring? And that's where I would hire marketing companies. And Stephen, we've actually hired marketing companies that made our phones stop ringing. They'd change the web page. They'd do this. They'd do this. Yeah. And it was so bad, we'd pick up our cell phones to call the number just to see if the phone would ring. And it's like, okay, what did we do here? And I call them OPM marketing, other people's money marketing. And that's what those companies are all about. And I finally got tired of it because it would literally be like, hey, look, we need the phone to ring more. They'd be like, well, how much more money have you got? And it was like, well, what's that got to do with anything? Well, we want all the money you've got to spend on marketing to make it ring. And to me, that really shouldn't be what it's about. I wanted to build the relationships with people. That's what carried me over to social media.
Walk me through sort of a day in the life at this point? Because obviously you're much like me. I mean, I understand that your days probably aren't all alike, but walk me through, now that you're the great Roger Wakefield, you've been doing it for 40 years. What are you doing these days? I mean, you're not in the field anymore, or are you?
Oh, I still am. Like I said, my company's in Dallas, Texas. We're actually in Richardson. I need plumbers. We are short plumbers. I cannot find good plumbers. And that's why I'm still out in the field. The opportunities that I have coming in through social media far could outweigh what I'm doing in plumbing, but I am tied down to the plumbing company, and I'm looking for great people. But my normal day is I'll get up, I'll come in. I'm normally in the office between 6 or 7. I'm normally doing social media from then till up to about 8 o'clock. I grab the book, look at it, see what we got on the book. We do a huddle or a meeting with our guys every morning, and then I jump in the truck. I went out a couple of weeks ago and estimated a job where we were tunneling up under a house in 3 different areas. 1 to make repairs, 2 to grab the pipe, stub it out front and reroute it around. This morning I had to go out, lay that out, meet the dig crew, get them started. I left there and went to another job where we have been tunneling, and I needed to talk to the homeowner and let her know there's still problems there. And we went in and fixed all the big leaks that we found, but now we know that there's more. And these are very expensive projects, so I want to make sure that I'm there to talk to them. Yesterday I was on a roof unstopping a sewer. We had to climb up on a roof and run a sewer machine down it. I actually grabbed one of my video guys before we went out and said, man, come on, we're going to climb up on a roof and unstop a sewer, so we're going to shoot video. And that's exactly what we did.
I think for some people, I just hear it a lot from some of my friends, not so much in my comment section, but I know so many people who they said, I'm a guy who likes to work with my hands. I hear that all the time. A lot of guys are that way.
You bet.
And yet they don't go for the trades. And exactly what you just said, I mean, that's so interesting. Go jump up on a roof, go solve a problem. Next day you're tunneling underground. I mean, I just don't think that's what a lot of people think. They think you're going to go jump in the New York City sewers and be down there, and that's all they think of a plumber.
Yeah, and it's funny you mention that, because now that I'm on social media, I've got a company out of New York contacting me. There's a thing called fatbergs. And what fatbergs are, and you really need to look it up, because it is a pile or wad of baby wipes, paper, condoms, anything people flush down the toilets that build up in the sewer. They had one in London. I think they said it was this thing weighed like 100 tons. It was as long as 7 buses. I mean, this thing was huge, and it started clogging up their sewers. Well, I had a company from New York call me and say, hey, we're wanting to do a documentary on that. Would you be interested in being the plumber that goes down and looks at it and talks about it? I'm like, man, I have no problem with that. Let's go. So, but it's like, look, stuff like that interests me. Yeah. I love plumbing, and for me to get to be in an area to see things that other plumbers may never see. Yeah. Down in the New York sewers, to look at, wow, the sewer line is, 12 feet tall. We're used to running 4-inch pipe. There's a big difference.
Huge.
So, yeah. So, man, the interesting thing is my normal life as a plumber changes daily. And you put it really good. I was under a house a couple of days ago. I was on a roof yesterday.
Now you may be going down and tackling the 7 bus long.
God,
what do they call it again?
They're called fatbergs, Fatbergs, like an iceberg, but a fatberg.
Is that your Moby Dick? I mean, is that you're the captain have?
That would be it. Will y'all take a picture of me next to this, please?
Dude, they don't want to take a picture. They want to get a documentary on you. That's great.
It's crazy, but I mean, it almost shut down the London sewer systems. They've had problems with it here, I think, in Michigan, in New York, some different places. And I mean, this isn't just a company. This is a company like, hey, we produce shows for HGTV, for Netflix, for DIY, for this and that. And they're like, would you be interested in doing this? I'm like, oh, yeah.
That's great. We're going to see you on we're going to get you off YouTube, but you're going to be on cable, man. That's what it sounded like.
Well, and I'm not going to get off YouTube because here's my thing. I love being on YouTube because of the engagement.
Yeah, that's true.
The fact that, think about it. You sent a message to me the other day and said, hey, can we talk? I love that because I have people send me messages saying, hey, look, I want to get in the trades, but I've got questions. Okay, what questions have you got? And they're like, wow, you called. It's like, well, you sent me your number. Apparently you wanted to talk. So I love it. I love the fact that I'm in a position now where I can help people change their lives.
Perfectly said. On that note, I think we're going to start wrapping up here. I mean, I think you've answered a lot of my questions. And the biggest thing is I want to keep these episodes short enough to be engaging, but also so people know, is this right for me? I think you've spoken wonderfully to the huge opportunities. Obviously, this isn't a field that's saturated. You were saying yourself, it's almost impossible to find people. You're always looking for more people, and as are plumbing companies around the United States. So give me kind of your wrap-up pitch for why people, let's say they're out of high school, they don't know what they're doing in their life. Why should they get into plumbing and the trades?
It's something that you can literally decide what you want to do. I got in, everybody gets in as an apprentice, and people tell me all the time, I don't know anything about it. Nobody does when they get in. Whether it's plumbing, whether it's electrical, HVAC, it really doesn't matter. We don't know what we don't know. We get in, we learn it, and then we can do what we want to. As a plumber, just a plumber, you can be a plumber, a foreman, a superintendent, a general superintendent. There's possibilities of moving up, running crews, leading crews. In a residential service company, you can be an operations manager or service manager. So there's room for growth. Then if you're willing to educate yourself a little bit more, you can learn AutoCAD. You can learn estimating. You can even learn to be a project manager. Just because you say, look, I don't want to do this forever. Okay, there's opportunities to come in from out of the field, sit behind a desk in front of a computer and do a job. But this might also be your best opportunity to ever work for yourself. If you one day want to own your own company, man, think about it. In less than 5 years, I'm running a company that's doing $1 million a year in revenue. That's not a bad income for an owner, but also when I'm out in the field, I'll work for myself. I have the opportunity to build the company the way I want to build it, to have the culture that we want to have so that we can always do the right thing to take care of our customers. That's a cool thing to say.
That's very cool to say. Thank you so much, Roger, for coming on the show.
You're welcome. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Same here. Guys, thanks for watching. Consider the trades. Consider plumbing. Give it a shot. It's a lot... you have a lot better of a chance than with e-commerce. I'll tell you that right now. Give up the gurus. Pick up a wrench. Go to work. Thank you, Roger.
There have been hundreds of celebrity scams, millions stolen from fans, and as we've shown on this channel, some people will promote almost anything if they're paid without checking what it is, which has created an industry of celebrity scammers we're going to expose today, who not only scam the fans, but fool the celebrities into launching tokens with their name on it.
The reason why I'm in crypto is because somebody scammed me into it, and they get pulled in by somebody that is scamming them, and in turn, the audience gets scammed.
No amount of due diligence on this little could have prepared us for forged wire transfer documents. No amount of due diligence could have prepared us for the level of fraud this individual perpetrated.
That is Jason Derulo and Caitlyn Jenner. And they're just some of the people that claim they have been tricked into promoting coins that were later rug pulled. Although they all say they were victims of the same person.
We got zero. There's no rug pulling here. It's a little boy from India that pulled the rug, okay? Sorry, little from India. And I refuse to say the name.
This is a person named Sahil. You know, at the time, I
know Sahil well. Well, I know obviously Sahil well.
Yeah, at the time, I had no idea who the hell that was. It was somebody that had 1-point-something million followers, so it added some credibility to his name, you know?
That's right. Sahil Arora was the villain of celebrity promotions. If you heard his name, you were probably already rug pulled. And Sahil even gave advice to people for how to be like him.
Just rug again, extract liquidity, new charts, sell everything in one clip, dump on every single one of your followers.
Sahil, you moving on, you moving up, you in Dubai now.
And then repeat the whole thing again.
What up guys, it's Rich the Kid. Yesterday my page was hacked and a coin was promoted on my page without my knowledge by Sahil.
And keep clicking and keep extracting and keep rugging.
Yeah, Sahil is cartoonishly villainous. I wouldn't have been surprised if he cackled while telling everyone to rug pull, which is why I was surprised to find out that Sahil has recently changed his tune.
I just have a question. Is it too late now to say sorry? Can we try one more time? I've been trying to reach out to a few people directly and just apologize for things that I've done. Rocks, the plays, the manipulations. I just want to say I'm not hacked. My Twitter is not hacked. It is me. It's hard, but please forgive me for being bad. I'll try to fix it. I'll try to fix issues with every single one of you that I have had. I'll try to fix everything that I've made you lose. And yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Apology aside for a moment, do you know how bad your reputation has to be for your apology to be the thing people think you're hacked for? He literally had to show his face and say, guys, it's really me this time, while apologizing for fraud. And maybe that's why Sahil decided to hop on a call with me to prove that he really is sorry and to confess to what he did. Now, is he sincere? Is he looking for more fame? I'll let you decide. Either way, today we're going to expose a celebrity scam from a different angle. Normally, we uncover things by talking to victims. This time, we're talking to the villain. But first, I need to give a legal disclaimer. I'm about to talk to Sahil about crime, fraud, prison, and I want to make it clear that in light of recent events, it's now my new position that I believe crime is probably legal in America, or at least the kind we're talking about. I certainly don't want to defame any innocent criminals on this show, so I'm changing my legal disclaimer in light of recent events and also selling merch to get the word out. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We've got two comfy designs here. One, which is like a celebration, like I can't believe I got away with it. And then our second shirt is, of course, based on my face every time I think about this. Crime is legal. It's also the reaction of, I imagine, a lot of people. So we'll be selling these for the next 30 days. You can get those. We sell merch once a year. As you know, it's a limited pre-order and then it's gone. All available at coffeezilla.shop, coffeezilla.shop. So with that out of the way, let's get started. All right, let's talk about Sahil, starting with how he got into rug pulling.
Rugging just kind of became like a habit. When I started seeing the money, it just kind of came to me that, this is fast, this is quick. I mean, let me just extract as much as I can. And I kept doing that. And I really didn't care. I didn't really look at the opportunities that were coming my way. Like I had all these big influential people. And then eventually I kept burning one after the other. I burned Caitlyn Jenner, I burned Escalating, Jason Derulo. The list goes on, it's endless.
Can you explain sort of the MO of how this all worked? So let's say somebody like, I don't know, I guess Caitlyn Jenner was one of the famous ones. Let's say Caitlyn Jenner hops in your DMs. Give us the breakdown of how this stuff works.
But yes, so 3 years ago, I was working with Justin Sun directly. So I was kind of doing celebrity endorsements for Tron. And there was a huge spat between SEC and Justin Sun, which kind of happened because of the celebs. And I was the guy
I think
who was
some people
brokering all
got
those deals.
people got in trouble for that, a lot of trouble.
Yeah, so Lindsay Lohan, Soulja Boy, Lil Yachty, MKBHD, all these people. So I was the guy who kind of brokered all these deals for Tron.
Quick pause. I actually fact-checked one of these claims. He says MKBHD promoted TRX, Tron. Turns out he didn't. He actually did the opposite. He exposed it on a YouTube video.
So I get this email. So this one said they just wanted to tweet and that they already have participation from
Lindsay Lohan, Amanda Cerny, Neo, Lil Yachty, and more. Okay, what is the campaign for? And it turned out it's for Tron, a cryptocurrency that they're, I guess, paying people to tweet about. The more I read into this email, the more sketchy it is. They mention they need to make it look like it's not a sponsored tweet. And then they linked 3 example tweets.
So yeah, I'd say that's a pretty substantial difference. And it's worth saying, in light of this, that you should take everything Sahil says with a grain of salt. It's hard to know where the truth ends and the bragging and self-promotion begins.
Tron was paying me heavily for that, and that's how I kind of built these celebrity relationships, and Caitlyn Jenner was one of them. So when I suddenly started exploring Pump Fun, last season, I kind of just cold called Caitlyn this one night, and I told her that, I have something for you. I want you to make a tweet. Just tell me how much you're going to charge me. So she gave me a number, and I said, okay, I'm going to pay you this number. You just have to make a tweet. She didn't know that she's actually launching a coin, or she's kind of promoting a coin in her likeness, and she had no idea what she was doing.
Oh my God. Wait. What was the amount? Do you remember how much it was?
It was $50,000 per tweet.
15,000.
So 50.
Oh, 50.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but Caitlyn has no idea it's her likeness.
She had no idea until it dropped. So it was $50,000 sum for just an endorsement tweet for nothing. I mean, she literally thought it's just a crypto project that's endorsing. So she dropped that with the whole Trump handshake image, and because elections were really booming, I thought that politics things would really pop. So that was the whole idea behind doing that. And then when the coin launched and people started flooding her DMs, it got really viral overnight. It was like the talk of everything overnight. It was like the biggest runner. And then eventually Caitlyn's manager, Sophia, she started calling me up and she's like, what did we just get into? And then I explained to her, I was like, listen, I was experimenting. I paid you that for the tweet. I didn't really expect this to go all the way to 50, 100 million market cap. But now that it's moving up so fast, I have supply. Do you guys want supply, or do you guys just want me to pay you the money that I extract from this and give you a cut and you just move aside with it? We were in the middle of this discussion, and it was like going on back and forth. We were negotiating on the numbers, and I was seeing the market cap go up. And while we were in the middle of these negotiations, I kind of just dumped. I kind of dumped my whole bag. And she thought that I'm holding tokens still, but I kind of exited from my positions at the same time. And then she started fighting with me.
Do you remember how much it was for?
A little over 200,000, yeah, because it was literally 6 or 7 hours from the launch.
So Sahil basically tricked Caitlyn Jenner into promoting this thing without knowing really what it was. It's a similar story to what he says about Jason Derulo as well.
Jason Derulo was like, talk to me. What is this? And I was like, I just want you to do a tweet. This is basically examples, references, Jenner, Iggy, Bobby Alcoff story. I was like, yeah, are you game? And he's like, what is this? And he was probably the most, I didn't understand because he's really done things in crypto in the past, but he kind of really fell with the whole narrative I gave him. I was telling him that it's basically a casino and it's a referral code that goes on the casino. So it's like an online gaming platform, and CA is basically a referral code which kind of goes on the online gaming platform. And people use that as an affiliate. And he kind of fell for that. And he was like, all right, cool, how much you can offer me? I said, 100,000. He's like, 350 or we don't work. And I was like, that's steep. And this was this was steep. And I was like, okay. And when I texted Jason, I was like, listen, I can do the wire. It's not gonna hit you today. It's gonna hit you on Monday max. But I need the tweet out today. He's like, you do the wire, I'm gonna make the tweet as soon as you do the wire and give me confirmation. I said, okay, cool, that works.
Tell me you didn't cancel the wire.
I'm getting there. So I gave him a confirmation of the wire. He made the tweet, and that's the reason he hates me the most in the world.
Now, in case you're not following this, I'm pretty sure saying you're going to send a wire, sending confirmation, and then canceling it with the intention of scamming someone, I'm pretty sure that is a type of fraud. But we'll hear Jason's side of the story as well.
He sends me a message. He's like, it has to be this weekend. I'll send you the receipt of the wire. So like, no worries. So I send that to my business manager. I'm like,
now you don't know this guy. You don't know Sahil
from Adam.
You've never read about him. You've never seen. You don't know the links to Iggy and
zero. Send me 200 grand, supposedly,
to promote a gambling app.
To promote a gambling app.
Okay.
So anyway, so I decide, cool, like it's probably legit. But I asked my businessman, I was like, what do you think? And he was like, yeah, the receipt looks great. Like, yeah. When I get off the plane, I'm getting all these messages, you scammer.
On Twitter.
Yeah, like, what did you do? And then my friend Ray calls, he's like, yo, what are you doing? You can't work with Sahil like you did. Like, what are you doing? Like, this is crazy. And I'm like, wait, like, what do I do? Like, how do I fix this?
So what had Sahil done? He told you that it's a gambling app. What had he done?
So there was an entire Jason coin created. So that link that he sent me said Jason whatever, pump.fun. Had no idea what pump.fun was. And that link was a link to an entire Jason coin.
So you thought pump.fun was the gambling app?
I didn't know what the hell pump.fun was. I just thought, I thought it could be the gambling app. I didn't even think that far.
So what was the tweet? What did you actually tweet?
It said, let me take you dancing. I asked him to send me like what he wanted me to say in the tweet.
Now, let me say here, I find this part a bit tricky because on the one hand, yes, a heel should probably be in jail for doing some of this trickery and fraud, but this level of irresponsibility by Jason Derulo to have seemingly no idea what he's tweeting about for $200,000, and then his fans get scammed and he goes, oh, well, I guess I was wrong. It's just so stunningly dumb. But I'll let Jason and Sahil explain what happens next because at this point, Jason realizes what's going on and tries to turn the tables.
He makes the tweet, and the minute the tweet happens, the dopamine runs up to 10 million. I rug it in one clip. So at 10 million, I rugged it in one clip in like 15 minutes or so.
This is terrible!
It fell all the way down to like 800,000, 700,000 market cap. And then Jason texted me. He's like, yo, I just landed. My phone's blowing up. What the did you do? And I was like, I lost the coin and it went to 10 million. I rubbed, and this is the CA. And he's like, how much do you still have? And I was like, I have a little bit, like I have like 5% or something left in my other wallets. He's like, give me all of it and I'll run it for you. Like you buy back again and I'm gonna push this with you. If you just told me at first that you're doing a coin in my name, I would have pushed it more and we could have worked bigger.
Since he scammed me, I devised a plan to scam him to try to make sure that he was out of the coin.
But to scam the scammer.
100%. So if I was gonna put more money in after that first little bit that I put in, I had to make sure that he was out. I hit him up and I was like, yo, like, okay, look, let's do this again, but this time let's do it the right way. And he was like, okay, yeah, you're right. Let's do it the right way. I was like, okay, yeah, I got this motherfucker. I'm like, how many coins do you still have? Just give me 75% of it. I'll tweet again and I'll start tweeting and like we'll make this thing like really go the right way this time. And then he's like, oh man, I gotta have some skin in the game, and that's too much, man. I think we ended up at like 50% of whatever tokens that he had, right? So my plan was to get as much as I could from him into the pot wallet, the wallet that I would never touch, obviously. And I would put that in there, and then I would make him sell the rest of his. And the way that I thought that he would sell the rest of his is if I just said, all right, f you, I ain't tweeting shit. So
what you did?
Yes, which is what I did. Yeah. So that he would be like, oh yeah, he's not going to be a part of this project.
I saw that message where you said, I ain't tweeting you, I ain't tweeting shit.
Yeah. so that, you know, he would sell the rest because he didn't think that I was going to be a part of it anymore. So he can at least get his last hurrah. You know what I'm saying?
And he's like, give me 1% more. And then I gave it 4%. And then he literally said, he's like, yo, I just scammed your ass because you thought you tried scamming me. So I kind of took the coins back from you. Now I have major supply. And then he's like, f it, I'm not doing your tweet. I'm going to dump this. And then I said, all right, cool. I'm unbothered. I already sold at 10 million. So yeah, even if you played me with like 4% of supply, it doesn't really do me shit. And then I woke up like 6 hours later. Jason Derulo was rallying up to Jason Coyd on Twitter.
Now I'm making it my life's goal to take this to the moon. So if you with me, let's go.
He was literally super engaged into it. He was blowing the shit out of that coin.
Last 24 hours was crazy. The next 24 will be crazy. Family's growing fast.
It went to 30 million when I woke up. So I woke up 7 hours later, it's 30 million. One of my wallets had a 10 sol purchase at 200,000 market cap. I woke up and that wallet was automatically at $300,000 value. I woke up, I sold immediately at 30 million market cap. And then I called up the guy and I said, did the wire go? And he's like, no, the wire didn't really go yet. Like, it's gonna hit on Monday. I was like, is there a way we can reverse it? And he's like, yeah, I can do a chargeback. I was like, let's do a chargeback. And then we did a chargeback on the 350 that we were initially giving him.
That's bad,
just because.
dude. Yeah, but you made over 350. You made over 350 on that coin, right?
I made over $1 million on.
So why are you refunding that wire?
It was, yeah, I mean, yeah. The dude tried to finish me, and I was like, you don't really. I was arrogant. I was like, you don't finish the finisher. So I was like, let me finish you more.
I will say, it is breathtaking just how many celebrity coins there were and how much backstabbing was involved. We'll go through a few of them, though, right here. Didn't you do Bobby Althoff at some point? I saw her.
I did Bobby Althoff. I also did Aiden Ross indirectly. He found out, he blocked me. I'm still blocked. So yeah.
Wait, how'd you do? How much did you pay? Because I think Bobby did like what, an Instagram? That's the girl who did an interview with Drake or something.
Bobby Althoff, I spoke to her directly. I offered her $60,000 for a tweet, but she didn't have a Twitter, so we did a story with just to see it. That was my first time trying see it on Instagram, seeing if it works or not, and that did good too. But then so I kind of didn't really pay her the whole thing. So I kind of paid her 50%, and I said, I'll pay you the rest when you post. She posted. The coin started going good. It was like a 2 million market cap. I rugged it, and then I didn't pay her, and she blocked me after finding out that it's her coin.
Now, I did try to fact check this with Bobby Althoff. She did not respond. Aiden Ross did respond. He was mentioned as well. He said, F that scammer. Hope you're good. Let's be friends, coffee. Now, good news, bad news here. Bad news, we're not going to be friends. Good news, I am going to defend Aiden Ross here, which is a sentence I thought I would never say. Because Aiden Ross did not do a coin with Sahil. You said you did Aiden Ross? That seems... I don't remember that.
I did Aiden Ross. Yeah, it was really silent. So I hit Aiden Ross up on Instagram. We had a whole chat. He asked for big money. And
How much?
I was like, I couldn't really...
How much?
That was $1 million for a tweet. And I was like, okay, that's big for me because I'm just starting up. I mean, I'm just new money, so it's big for me. So I was like, $500,000 is much, but I really need to run this. So I had an army of people by then in my, like 15,000 plus people in my private, like in my public group. My private was like 3,000 whales. So I was like, okay, I can LARP it. So I kind of took screen records of that chat, posted up in my public, ran an Adam Ross token, and I sent him like 1% supply, which he never really touched. And then when he realized that I literally launched a token while talking to him, he blocked me. Like, he didn't say anything, but he blocked me.
I see. You were basically saying you launched it, but you didn't want to pay the $500,000. So you just said like, oh, Aiden Ross's coin. Get in. It
was a LARP.
So yeah, Sahil seems to be weirdly proud of even coins he didn't get the person to directly endorse, like Iggy Azalea, Aiden Ross. They never ultimately promoted anything with him, but he still mentions them as if he's proud of it. He's also proud of even people who promoted things for like seconds that he was involved in. Floyd Mayweather, for example.
That was very controversial. And that was actually proof of power that kind of went down on Twitter that day. I remember, if you look up on the feed, you'll find it. So Floyd Mayweather, I called him up and I said, and Floyd, everybody told me, I told my group that I'm doing a Mayweather coin. And everybody in my group said that, this is not possible. Floyd cannot do a crypto thing. He's burned by the SEC. He would not touch crypto.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He's done NFTs. He's done crypto. He's done it all before. He's even been, he got hit by the SEC.
He was back. Yeah, because the central coin thing, he was restricted from doing crypto. But then I was like, I have a way out. I can make this work. I know I can make this work. It's the same story. Social media managers, pay them a big amount of money. They're gonna make a tweet, delete that the same hour. Nobody's gonna know. It's not going to be there. So that was basically my convincing point. So now what happened was,
so he knew, but just to be clear, he knew what the plan was. He was going to have his social media manager do it to give him plausible deniability, basically.
Yeah, correct. Right. Yeah. So he was in the loop. Okay. Now we were trying to be very low key with it. We were trying to be very, very low key with it. Now the thing is, just 4 days before the Floyd drop, I did a Rich the Kid drop, and I burnt Rich the Kid entirely. I didn't give him a single dollar for the launch, and I made like 150,000, 140,000, something like that from that launch. And Rich the Kid hated on me. He literally tweeted my number on his Twitter, and he literally got his fans to spam my phone. This didn't happen. Now Rich the Kid and I had a beef. Now Floyd Mayweather, Rich the Kid, Rich knows Floyd, and Floyd knows Rich. So when Floyd Mayweather made that tweet with the CA, Rich the Kid tweeted there, and he said, "Floyd, you need to take this down. I'm calling you as a scammer." Now, on that tweet, Floyd deleted that tweet in like 5 minutes, okay? And then now Rich the Kid called up Floyd Mayweather and said that you should not do this. And then Floyd calls me back and he's like, Rich says that you scammed him. I can't do this. I mean, I can't take the tweet back up and blah, blah, blah. I was like, I'm going to give you 100,000 again. Just get the tweet back up. And he's like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, just delete it in like 45 minutes. Now the entire Twitter space was going crazy because they were like, Rich tells Floyd to delete the tweet. Floyd deletes the CA. The coin dumps to the max. And then I said, wait, I'm going to get the tweet back up. Nobody believed me. And then 10 minutes later, the CA tweet comes back up. The token rallies up all the way to 20 million. And then 40 minutes from then, the tweet gets deleted again. And that's when I tell people that, you can't really stop my run.
I want to pause and ask, what do we make of all this, right? Sahil's obviously a villain. What do we think about the celebrities themselves, though? What role do they play? I think it's clear that all of them say they were victimized, or most of them, they were scammed. I think in some cases that is clearly true. In other cases, it does seem like a pretty convenient story, though. Take Jason Derulo, for example. He sort of mentions having kind of early knowledge. He had asked for references and was given examples of people explicitly that were scammed by Sahil in the past.
I mean, surely you ask a guy like this, who else have you worked with? Who else is tweeting for you, right?
Yes, and he went down the line. He's like, I'm the one running Iggy's Twitter, and I'm running her coin. A bunch of people.
This was before the tweets or after tweets?
Yeah, he was like showing me all sorts. This was before. Yeah, he was showing me like all messages and stuff.
Yeah.
Of different people that he had worked with.
So yeah, Jason Derulo had all the information he needed to find out what was really going on. He was told, for example, Caitlyn Jenner had worked with Sahil, Iggy Azalea had worked with Sahil, but both of those people had very publicly denounced Sahil. Like he was kind of the laughingstock of Twitter at that point. People were widely sharing that this guy was a scammer. So it's just kind of hard to believe, later he says, after posting, he says, damn, Sahil got me, in a tweet. And it's just kind of like a crazy amount of ignorance if that story is true. And the question is just like, is there any responsibility on these celebrities to do any amount of due diligence? Iggy Azalea, for example, actually thinks there is.
I can't really feel empathetic towards you or say, oh, oopsie, I didn't know. Like, so you don't feel responsibility to understand the things you sign or the agreements you sign? You don't think you should know what you're getting yourself into? Fuck everybody else's money that got stolen.
Fuck everybody else.
You don't think that you should figure that out? You're not worried about if you could go to jail for what you're doing or be fined even at that? Like, the morale. Like, let's look at your own protection.
Yeah.
Are you that stupid, or did you just think you could get away with this shit?
I mean, honestly, I think she's right. I don't think you can continue to claim ignorance when somebody has been caught doing something so many times, or at least it just doesn't look good, right? I will say, I of course went to Jason Derulo directly for comment on the story. He maintained that, of course, he did not know. He believed it was a gambling app at the time. He says he, quote, benefited nothing, and he, quote, lost every penny trying to make most people whole from Sahil's rug. So just let that be what it is. That's his comment on the story. He also says, respectfully, I don't want to be part of this. You're making him more famous. You're giving Sahil what he wants, fame. To be fair to Jason, I think he's actually right about that. I think Sahil does want fame. I still think this story is worth publishing, though, for two reasons. One, I always think it's good to remind fans not to trust celebrities with financial promotions. And I remind celebrities that promoting financial products is totally different than promoting anything else. And you have an obligation to do due diligence when you're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to promote these things. You can't just say, hey, I didn't look into them. You know, I don't think that's a good excuse. But secondly, and much more importantly, I want to just ask, at what point do regulators look at interviews like this and say, there have to be consequences? You know, we joke on this, well, it's not really a joke. It's sort of a meme that crime is legal. It's to cope with all these, you know, the regulators are dropping cases like hotcakes. People are walking. People that were already prosecuted are walking away. But most of us hope that there are lines you cannot cross, right? You hope that there isn't a full abandonment of any kind of standard or, you know, any kind of laws. So my question is, if there is a line, what is that line? Sahil Arora, in our interview, basically admits to targeting U.S. celebrities, scamming their fans, scamming the celebrities, and then basically brags about it publicly.
I felt the power, I felt the villain, and I was like, yeah, this is my time. You can't f me up on this. You're not going to stop me from rugging the space. Yeah, I'm unstoppable.
I know it hasn't been great days at these different regulators, things like that, but I do want everyone to know the kinds of conversations scammers like this are having. Because there was a reason Sahil was comfortable to come on my show. We actually talked about, you know, should he be admitting this stuff? Is there going to be consequences for this? And Sahil said no, he doesn't think there are going to be any consequences for what he talks about.
Like before Trump, I could imagine people getting jail. After Trump, there's just no way.
Isn't that bad if we're just heading down that road and our governments are explicitly like allowing that, encouraging that?
It's bad for our children when they grow up, because then they have a new stream of career, which would be rugging. And then what's going to be worse is if Howard is teaching you how to rug, because then it kind of becomes like a new profession. So yeah, that's exactly when it's going to get fucked.
Look, you know things are bleak when a self-professed rug puller is like, yeah, this probably shouldn't be happening. I probably shouldn't be able to get away with this. But this is the message we are sending in America right now. You can totally do this. You can totally get away with it and brag about it on video. And none of it matters. It's so depressing. I mean, not just for me, you know, as someone who exposes this stuff full time, you know, things have gotten very catch and release around here. But it's depressing for people who work 9-to-5 jobs, who are working for, you know, an honest living. And somebody is just bragging about cheating and getting away with it. And the broad consensus is, yeah, well, he's probably just going to walk. I mean, I don't know how to say in 50 different ways, like, that is bad. It's a terrible message we're sending, and we should probably stop doing that, and probably should start. People like this should get in trouble, I guess. It's not even me who thinks, this is the craziest part. It's not me on a soapbox just saying this. I'm not the only one with this opinion.
People like me should not exist in the space. I am with you for that. I'm literally agreeing with you on that. Because it's really giving a bad idea to people about the whole space as a whole.
That's right. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I agree with Sahil Arora. I think his lack of consequences, or feeling like he has no consequences, has made him remarkably honest in this moment. And I appreciate him kind of unveiling the full architecture of these scams, even though I think he should face consequences for those scams. If you want to watch the full interview, you can do so on The Void. And yeah, that's basically it.
Like before Trump, I could imagine people getting jailed. After Trump, there is just no way.
But is it really black and white coffee?
Huh?
The shirts. Black and white. Are you doing okay?
Oh, I'm fine.
Oh, great. So about the shirts, do you have this in like a double wide or a 3X?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the studio. This is actually my second time filming this. I am your host, your internet detective, but I'm sad to say, I just found out that 3 of my video files that were planned were corrupted because I muted my mic somehow. So get some coffee, guys, because I gotta pull a late night here, try to get some more content out for you guys, because there's no way in hell I'm going bald this month. Let me tell you right now. Guys, today I want to talk to you. This is Throwback Thursday. If you don't know what day it is, just so you know, that's why we do this. Throwback Thursday. Hello, you're almost at the end of your week. Hang in there. On Thursdays, as you guys know, we go back in time to learn the lessons of scammers so we can learn not only about them, but also ourselves, a little bit of psychology of who we are. And together, we can be a more educated population, fall for scammers less, and in general, learn to empathize with each other more. I don't know if this show actually does any of that, but it's aspirational, guys. Today we're talking about the dark truth about con men. Something that I've kind of had to come to grips with, because, you know, on the show, we kind of make fun of these people. We paint them in the worst possible light. But there's a truth that I've been avoiding about the true con men. Listen, there are kind of your bottom-feeding con men, but then there's the top tier. And at the highest tier, what I haven't been addressing, and what is so uncomfortable to admit, is how likable con men are. And I know you're saying, Stephen, no, these guys they're scammers. No. It's okay to admit the truth, which is that if you look, I was watching the Napoleon Hill interview, right? Because I did that last Throwback Thursday. And one thing I came away with is, look, if you can just strip away the lying, the fake success, the fact that he was totally phony with it all, this man is actually extraordinarily likable. I hate to say it.
And remember before you begin writing that your only limitations are those which you set up in your own mind or permit others to set up for you.
I mean, he's just kind of this humble-looking guy. I'm not saying he's some kind of saint or anything like that, but I'm saying if you listen to him without knowing all the backstory about him, you'd find him to be likable. You'd find him to be, oh, this is a guy I'd like to be friends with. That is what is so difficult to deal with con men, is that the reason people get involved with a lot of these scams and the reason they keep going back to them is because of the charisma and the cult of personality, a lot of these characters. So we're going to be going through some history with a lot of different characters like this so I can make this point to you of really how dangerous this kind of thing is. And with that, I'd like to turn to perhaps the most troubling modern version of this that I've seen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joseph James, a trading instructor on YouTube. Now, before I tell you what he did, let's just watch one of his videos and just pay attention to how this guy acts.
All right, guys, back to work tonight, Tuesday evening. It's January the 12th, 2020. My name is Joseph, and as always, welcome back to your nightly newsletter.
First impressions, great. If you guys met this guy in the street, you didn't have any context, he wasn't featured in a Coffeezilla video, you'd probably find this guy likable, maybe a little chatty. A lot of these guys are a little bit chatty. But, you know, they're high energy, smiling. You can't probably see it with the black and white, but he's got these blue eyes just hypnotizing me, bringing me in, telling me this is a guy I can trust. That's actually how you con people, actually, is by being and appearing trustworthy. This is something hard for people to accept. And the reason I finally wanted to address it is because I keep getting the same email basically saying, hey, what do you think of this guy? I think he might be a scam, but he's so likable. As if con men are supposed to come out and tell you that they're con men. As if they're supposed to wear like a dark robe and like, you know, a wizard hat and announce themselves. No, that's kind of the point. They're likable. But of course, you go through his thing and what actually does he do? Behind all this affability, what's actually the end result? Well, oh, look at this. He pitches you a course.
every day at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. I'll put the link you need in the description of this YouTube video. I'll also put a big button for you to click on the trading blog. So getting registered for tomorrow morning's trade room is pretty darn easy. Easy as falling off a Shetland pony, as they say.
Just easy as falling off a Shetland pony. Now, guys, who is this man? Probably a lot of you guys haven't heard of him. Well, he runs a channel called School of Trade. Now I think it's been shifted to Joseph James or something like that, but it used to be School of Trade, and as you can see, the site is still branded that way. Why do I bring this guy up, and why is he in Throwback Thursday? Well, it's because of what happened to him in 2017. See, this video is from yesterday. Like, he's still selling this course right now. But you know what happened in 2017? This man paid $4.9 million in trading system fraud. And as you can see, the thing that says fraud on it literally has not changed. See, the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission charged this guy with paying restitution to defrauded investors totaling $4 million and a $1 million penalty for doing what he did. Now, I won't read all of this to you, but basically, this guy was not really making the money he said he was making with his course, and so they fined him. Now, obviously, has the course changed a lot? I mean, we can just kind of go off of this. What do you think? If this is what the course looked like before, and the course he's selling now, today, right now, after paying $4 million back to investors and $1 million to the government, it still looks like this. What's the point? Guys, these people don't stop. Even when they're caught, they don't stop. And let's look at this comment section. I've been watching you since May 2020 when I started trading. So a new trader here. You think he has any idea of what happened with the CFTC? Joseph James is your mentor trader. Priceless. Dreams come true 2021. Good stuff, JJ. Hey, thanks for the video. This is a guy who was convicted by the CFTC and forced to pay a penalty for what he was selling. And he's still selling it. And people are still buying it. Which goes to the irrationality of people who are both scamming and also, something we don't talk about, is being scammed. There's an allure to the person scamming. We can't ignore that. Guys, we can't just pretend these people are clowns, which a lot of them are. But at the highest level, the best scammers, they have a real magnetism to them. And this isn't about, your small time gurus. This is about people like this. This is Kevin Trudeau, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who that is, that's because he's been in jail for contempt of court, among other things. He had a lot of run-ins with the government for selling his shady products. He was also always telling you, you're going to have the mega mind memory. You're going to have, he sold that course. He sold weight loss cures. He sold money making cures. Basically, he's always selling something else. And every time it didn't live up to the hype. So Kevin Trudeau eventually was silenced. He ignored the court. He got arrested, right? So classic scammer. But this man, even now, after being in jail for years, still has people die hard supporting this man, to the point where there's an entire group of people that are trying to free Kevin Trudeau early, and they send him money to his mailing address at prison, and they send him letters. He's got a whole fan club that have followed him even into jail. They're basically worse than BTS fanboys and fangirls, okay? These people love this guy, despite the fact that his products did not work. Now, of course, a few people are going to say, well, I tried his weight loss thing. I injected myself with HGH or whatever it was, and I lost 10 pounds. This guy was a known con man, but yet he had a magnetism to him. It's easy to dismiss these guys as, kooky, whatever, scammers. They are, but there's something kind of there as well that's very interesting to think about, because if you're going to protect yourself and others, you can't think these people are going to show up telling you they're going to scam you or going, oh, haha, I'm going to get you. If you guys met this guy on the street, you'd probably like him. That's the thing.
Many of you may know that years and years ago, back actually 1989, I did a program called Mega Memory. It became one of the most popular self-improvement series of all time. When I did that program, Mega Memory, one of the things I did was I made a big decision to expose both corporate and government corruption. And particularly at that time, I was exposing how the Department of Education was trying to force the drug Ritalin on.
Oh, yeah. So that's actually how okay, this is great. So this is what a lot of people do is they tie themselves to causes while scamming you, right? So while getting these fees, while riding around in yachts and boats and luxury cars, this guy's basically saying, hey, I was trying to help the common man. I'm trying to expose everybody, exposing big pharma, exposing all this stuff. So they play on your biases. So this is pretty long, but basically he says, you know, I'm this big victim who's been cheated. And even when you go to a lot of the videos where he's being exposed, they have a bunch of downvotes on him because all Kevin Trudeau's fans don't want to believe it. Here's one of the videos. Controversial TV pitchman, Kevin Trudeau jailed. It's got like 25% downvotes. And then the top comments are basically like free Kevin Trudeau things. It's so sad that the government will frame someone as a scammer and use major media to convince the public. It's like, dude, the guy is a scammer. This is in a video, by the way, which exposes Kevin for running yet another scam of this like membership club or whatever, which then he says, oh, I don't have any control over.
Are you using gin as a personal piggy bank to live a really lavish lifestyle and avoid paying this judgment?
Well, I think that's a legitimate question, but even if I was, what's the point? I'm screwed. I can't own anything for the rest of my life. So I'm not going to start a company and put it in my own name. It'd be dumb. And I certainly can go to friends, relatives, neighbors, or whatever and say, listen, you start a company and I'll help you out. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing illegal about it. And guess what? It ain't my asset.
That argument may put you in jail.
We'll see. I have an insane...
Yeah, it might put you in jail, Kevin. I think time has told on that subject. Moving on from this, we're going to talk about another con man who has really just rebounded shockingly well from his scandal. You know, Brian Rose has really totally given up the idea of ever pursuing the digital freedom platform or making that a thing. In fact, if you go to the donation page for Brian Rose, you know that thing, the big freedom platform he was pushing? Now it just redirects to his mayoral campaign. He's completely forgotten about it. Is he going to sue Google? Is he going to get free speech back? Nah, don't worry about that. Now he's running for mayor. So he's completely grifted everybody. That money's gone. It's been scammed. And yet, when you go to his videos, the comment section, which used to be all dislikes, is back to what it used to be. Like, no scandal. Everybody here is just agreeing with Brian. And you find out that he doesn't really suffer any consequences for it. This is like a bitter pill to swallow if you get really invested in this stuff. And it's why I really stopped getting invested in what happens. I just try to save people from these scams. But at the end of the day, if you look across history of scammers and how their career goes, they will always have victims. Kevin Trudeau, when he gets out of jail soon, you think he's going to go on the straight and narrow all of a sudden? Hell no. He's going to go right back to pitching, baby. Pitching new stuff. I guarantee it. I think he's about to get out of jail. And I think this will be borne out. Napoleon Hill. Even if people knew that he was a scammer back then, what happened? People still followed him. You got School of Trading. Gets indicted by the CFTC. Or, you know, pays all these penalties. What's he still doing? He's still selling the course. People are still watching the videos. It's hard to understand from our perspective, but we have to understand it nonetheless because I think it gives us an insight into human psychology. We like people who sell us the dream. We like people who are narcissistic, who say they have all of the answers. It's tough. And you know what? It's not just Brian Rose. It goes to the tippity top. We've got old D. Trump. You guys know him. And listen, I'm not getting... Relax. Hey, a lot of you guys... you shrank back on me just now in your seats. You go, wait a second. What's he going to say about D. Trump? I'm just going to say this. We're keeping it not political, guys. We're keeping it away from politics. Just look at what he did before politics. Before having anything to do with politics, he was running a scam with ACN, which is a multi-level marketing company, where he endorsed them.
A great relationship with ACN, and the more I learn about them, the more I like and respect them.
Okay. He ran a scam with Trump University. We have Amish to tell us all about that. He also ran Trump Network, his own pyramid scheme, right? And yet, each time, you know, he'd have victims, of course. But he just kept moving on, didn't care, and he keeps moving on. And guess what? He eventually gets the White House. And you know what? He's still doing it because he sends me, I'm on his emailing list. I'm on Trump's emailing list. Yeah, I'm a big deal, guys. The president emails me. He's always trying to get money from all his people on his email list. And he keeps saying, hey, if you donate now, I'll give you 1,000% matching on your donation. Now, is there any truth to that? No, that's a total lie and a known scam by politicians, which is somehow legal, where they tell you that your donation is going to get 1,000% matched. It's a complete, demonstrable lie. And yet we don't care. We move on. And the reason I'm telling you guys this is not to bum you out. It's not to make you sad. It's to help equip you for understanding the trajectory of con artistry and to help you understand, don't try to end con artists forever. People always ask me, how can we help shut them down? I don't know. Ask the federal government to do more. They really don't. They don't do a lot. But until then, you can just inform people. If they don't listen, they don't listen. Just inform your friends. Don't let your family get involved in these things. But other than that, that's basically all you can do, because at the end of the day, there's something psychologically irresistible about con men to most people. And it's a hard truth about life. And to close this off, I want you to just listen to Donald Trump pitch the Trump network, because I think it's a great case study in how selling the dream, even when you know it's a scam, can be compelling, because they prey on your existing insecurities. They prey off the injustices in the world. You're going to hear him talk about how unfair it is that you don't have a fair shake at life, and how he just wants to help you. So try to listen to this Trump pitch with fresh eyes, because if you can understand the psychological manipulation behind this, if you can understand why this works, you're not going to have to watch another Coffeezilla video again. I hope you will. But yeah, I hope you learned something. I'll let this play out. I'll see you next time.
Hello, I'm Donald Trump, and welcome to the Trump Network. I want you to know why I'm so excited to be a part of this great organization. At no time in recent history has our economy been in the state that it is today. It's a mess. The economic meltdown, greed, and ineptitude in the financial industry have sabotaged the dreams of millions of people. Americans need a new plan. They need a new dream. The Trump Network wants to give millions of people renewed hope, and with an exciting plan to opt out of the recession. Let's get out of this recession right now. With cutting-edge health and wellness formulas and a system where you can develop your own financial independence, the Trump Network offers people the opportunity to achieve their American dream. I'm still looking for dreams. I'm doing damn well in life, but I'm still looking for the dream. It's a winning combination because it means you and your family can benefit financially from our breakthrough program. Follow our step-by-step success system that will help you